AITA for refusing to babysit my half-brother's baby after he disowned me for being adopted? I, 20F, was adopted at 16 by my half-brother and his wife, who were in their late 30s at the time. They already had 6 children, but they treated me like their own from the moment they met me, as did all their kids, except for one, their golden child, Chad, who is only 4 months older than me. Chad has always been an insensitive jerk to everyone, including our other siblings. He would fist-fight our older sister, say horrible things, and get away with it. He had extreme anger issues, causing broken doors and holes in walls. He got privileges we never did, like a free car and going out at night. In high school, Chad stood up in front of our whole class and declared I wasn't his sister and never would be. He repeated similar hurtful things in front of his friends until he moved out. I stopped seeing or talking to him after that. Chad got the family's attention again after marrying right out of high school, moving in with his wife's family, and having the first grandchild. Since then, I've avoided him, only seeing him for family pictures because our mother asked. When I told my mom about what Chad said and did, she shrugged it off, saying he was her son, and the baby was her first grandchild. Out of nowhere, I got a message begging me to babysit for them because you're the only one who can handle it. Apparently, they were weaning the baby off breastfeeding, and he was extremely clingy. The mom, a germaphobe, had isolated the baby since birth. They knew I have insomnia and ADHD, so I don't mind crying. My sister was mad because they hadn't asked anyone else in the family for help, and everyone wanted to see the baby. Am I the asshole for not wanting to babysit because his father disowned me? Update: Chad burned the bridge for the last time. I read everyone's comments, and it made me feel better knowing my feelings are valid. Here's an update that some may not like. After I posted, I talked to 2 friends from high school who witnessed Chad's behavior. They suggested I give babysitting a try to see if things could be mended. If not, I could tell my mom and sister I tried and then cut ties for good. So, I agreed to babysit. I went to Chad's house around 8 p.m. His wife was happy to see me, clearly exhausted from caring for a 1-year-old. She explained Seth's routine and mentioned his crying fits. They said they'd be home by 12:30 or 1 a.m. at the latest. Chad barely acknowledged me before they left. This was my first time seeing Seth in person, and he was the cutest baby ever. He was fine the whole time, only crying when no one was in the room, not because of weaning. At 12:30, I considered texting them but waited. At 1 a.m., I texted both of them, asking where they were, with no reply. They finally showed up at 3 a.m. I was livid, not because of the extended babysitting, but because they didn't text me back. What if there had been an emergency? I confronted them, and Chad's wife said Chad told her it was fine to be an hour late. I pointed out that Seth cried because he was lonely, not due to weaning. As I was leaving, I asked Chad if he had anything to say. He snorted and said no, claiming his wife talked him into it. He refused to apologize, stating that nothing had changed since high school, and I should just grow up and understand that I'm not part of their family. I left and texted my mom, thinking she'd see it in the morning. She was awake and told Chad's wife about our earlier conversation. His wife felt bad because she also had an adopted sister and didn't realize Chad would still act that way. I told my mom I was done with Chad and would only be there for Seth if needed. Given the situation, I'll likely cut off my whole family because it's not worth the stress anymore. Update: Mother is now ruining my time with the news of my other brother getting married. So it has been a hot minute since I last updated on the whole Chad situation. It's mainly due to the surprising fact that my family, my mother, and sister, not bugging me as much lately. The first day or 2 after the interaction with Chad was a bit hectic. Both of them were blowing up my phone, trying to get me to talk to them, mostly my mom just making excuses for Chad and my sister trying to basically just tell me to get over it. I ended up telling the both of them, in text and over the phone, that I was over it, and I would be cutting myself off completely from Chad and his little family. This sparked some anger, but my mother soon went quiet and later my sister. Everything seemed to be going pretty good after that for a while. That was until a week later when my sister showed up unannounced at my apartment demanding that I take the blessing of getting to be around Chad's sheltered child when no one else seemed to be able to. Basically, acting like it was some huge honor that I was asked to babysit. I almost snapped. I wanted to call her a bitch and to get off my property and not come back because I was just so sick of it. But I didn't. From my doorstep I told her that if she wanted to see the baby so bad just go over and see it. It wasn't my issue to deal with and I slammed the door in her face and watched her leave. It's been radio silent for a while now until earlier this week. I was scrolling on Instagram when I noticed that my oldest brother, the one that I get along super well and supported me about curing Chad off, his girlfriend of 4 years and the same age as me, are now engaged and posted pictures of the proposal. I noticed the post had been made last week, but no one had told me. Not even my mother? I texted my brother's girlfriend asking her about literally everything that was happening. She was surprised because my mother had said she had told everyone in the family about the wedding. She then told me that they would be holding a family meeting at my parents' house to talk about the wedding plans. I said okay. The meeting was for today around dinner time. I showed up and walked into the house and noticed that a lot of stuff was different decoration-wise. My parents had our family photos all arranged around the living room, and a few random frames with multiple small photos in them as well. I noticed that they had replaced multiple small photos of specifically me from the frames and replaced them with now pictures of Chad and his wife and my older brother and his girlfriend. What were maybe 6 pictures of me on any of the walls, there were now 2, a baby picture of me and my senior high school photo, that are now in the hallway, not even the living room. I ignored it and didn't say anything. After a while everyone showed up, except for, of course, Chad, who my mom pulled that he wanted to spend time with his baby. They all started talking about the people plan of the part, aka people who were going to be key parts of the wedding cast. I tried my best to listen and take in all of what my brother's girlfriend was saying. I noticed by the end of it all, my name was literally never added into any of the main plans. I wasn't mentioned at all for another in the plans. I stated to question why I was there if I wasn't going to be in the main plans of the wedding. I was kind of like, why not just send me an invitation then? I went home and texted his girlfriend asking about what had happened at the little meeting. Apparently, my mother had told her that I wouldn't want to be involved in any of the wedding stuff and that it wasn't my thing. She called me unfeminine and that I wouldn't like doing any kind of bridal stuff because I'm not girly. She then said everything was set in stone now. My older sister is going to be a bridesmaid and my little sister is to be a flower girl. My little brother will be the ring holder and my other little brother and Chad will be groomsmen. And apparently my mother also told her that because of what happened with Chad that I shouldn't be sat at the family table but at a guest table. I will just be another guest at the wedding. I didn't really say anything back because it hurt. It hurt that my mother would say that about me, that I was infeminine and that just because I myself didn't do a lot of girly things in my spare time, I wasn't going to be able or enjoy doing something like a wedding or be a bridesmaid. I can't believe she would say that about me. To be honest, I don't know if I'm even going to go. The wedding is scheduled for the end of the year. It sounds stupid and petty, but this hurt me. It hurt that I'm being outcast, most likely due to Chad once again. And as I am typing this, my sister is texting me about how she is helping plan all the bride stuff. Honestly, I'm going to leave it off at this for right now because I don't know how to even feel if you know what I mean right now. In the next day or so I might update when I feel up to it. Edit, Chad's wife is pregnant again. I don't even know what to say. I didn't expect to update again so soon, but I just got the news from my older brother's fiancé. Chad's wife is pregnant again. Update. I have moved even farther away from my parents since the last few updates, in part to hopefully try and start a process of trying to cut them off from my life. This has worked a bit, but not enough to actually make me feel any better. They, mostly my mother, have still decided to take time to bother me and showing up at my new place and only giving me a second of a heads up. There is no update concerning the wedding. I have only gotten an invitation though the mail. I'm not going to try and press it anymore. I'm going to go, but I will most likely leave after the ceremony and not stay to hang out with anyone. Chad's situation has grown only by the fact that over a group chat they decided not to have any kind of gender reveal or even a baby shower. They just announced that they are now having a girl. Don't want to be an ass, but Chad's wife stretched the fact that Chad randomly made her get up and go get an ultrasound to find out the gender. She acted like she really didn't want to do it. Apparently, they went to one of those fancy ultrasound places where you get fancy models of the fetus and high-tech ultrasound pics. Chad also announced that he is going to college now and asked for a $1,000 loan, which they gave to him. They have always stretched that they will never loan money to any of their kids. My stomach turned when they happily gave him the money, but they wouldn't lend me $20 for school books when I went to college. They refused to help me get into college. I muted the group chat. I also found out that my sister has possibly outed me to mom. I came out when I was in high school as being bisexual with a preference for women. This didn't go well, to be quite honest, as my mom pulled. I have a lesbian cousin who is married to a woman, followed up by a homophobic story about how her friend traumatized her in college by taking her to a gay bar and she got hit on by another female. Not great. My brother fully believes that my love for women is trauma-based because of the abuse I faced from our bio father. My heart was broken when all of this came to the surface, knowing they both truly wouldn't support me. They would only lie to my face about being uncomfortable by my life. I basically promised myself that I would never tell them if I got a female partner, in hopes of saving not only my feelings but my partner's feelings in the long run. It makes me extremely uncomfortable to think about them looking me in the eyes and believing everything that they told me concerning their feelings about my lifestyle. I fear my sister has told our mom about me dating a female now that I have moved further away from them, something that I never did while in the house living with them. I noticed on my girlfriend Instagram my sister had liked one of the pictures of me and my girlfriend. My girlfriend, after hearing all of this, supports me about not posting pictures of us seeing, as she knows that my family follows me on Instagram. My girlfriend has not tagged me in any pictures on Instagram, so my sister had been looking through my friend on Instagram. Not even a week after the photo was liked, I had to see my sister in person for something. She started to make awkward comments about my dating life and if I was seeing anyone, which I only said maybe and left it at that. 2 days later my mom is showing up at my front door with some store-bought cookies asking me if there's anything I want to tell her. I brushed her off and didn't say anything. She then left and hasn't said anything else to me. A few hours later my little brother texts me asking if I had told mom about me dating because she is apparently going crazy and about how his dad is just telling her that it's just a trauma response. I haven't told anyone about me dating, so clearly someone told her about me dating, especially the fact that they are bringing up that I'm dating a female. I honestly don't know what I'm supposed to do at this point, as I am trying my best to cut them off. My girlfriend is telling me not to think about it too much and that we can get through it together. I honestly don't know where I would be without her at this point because she's the only one keeping me sane throughout this entire transition. This update isn't anything grand, but it is something. I wish I could fully say that my life is getting better, but it's really only getting better at a snail's pace. At the moment all I can say is thank you to everyone who has been supporting me throughout all of these updates. Everyone's input has actually made me see how messed up and how wrong my family has been treating me and how I shouldn't be letting them continue to lead my life and invalidate my feelings.